Hello and welcome. Episode 3 of the Sounds from the Dockside podcast. Today we have in session Brad Arliss. I'm your host, Dave.
I'm your host, James.
How are we doing, Brad?
I'm all right, thanks. How about you?
Yeah, good. We had a few issues getting to this point, haven't we, today?
Yeah, it's fine. It's been an adventure.
It's been a right pain, but we got there in the end.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
You've just come back from a gig, haven't you? You've been playing this afternoon. How was that?
Yeah, it was at Wellington Wellington Arms on Freeman Street.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Thank you. It was just a chilled one. Like I just kind of played a bunch of like oldies covers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crowd pleasers.
Crowd pleasers. Yeah.
Any David Essex?
No, I'm afraid not. Maybe that's what I have to learn now.
You can't play a bar on Freeman Street without playing David Essex, though, can you?
Is it bad that day?
Sweet Caroline.
So then, Brad, just tell us a little bit about yourself, like where you grew up and that, and how you got into music.
Grimsby born and bred, to be honest. But I got into music. My mum and dad were always playing rock music from the 80s and stuff. As I was growing up, I got massively into Queen and Bon Jovi when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
And that inspired me to play guitar. And the first band that I ever got into that really, really inspired me to write good songs was Green Day.
Yeah.
Yeah. They became like quite formative in that, like they got me into like punk rock.
How old was you when you got into music? You know, got into music, into Green Day.
About 9. I got a guitar on my 10th birthday, and I got guitar lessons for my 10th birthday as well. So that's when I started learning to play.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Were your parents musicians then, or was it just big fans of music?
Mostly just big fans of music. I've got other musicians in the family though. Like my uncle plays bass.
Yeah. Was they around you playing music when you was growing up? Because there was for me. That's what inspired me. My dad was a drummer. My uncle was a guitarist, and just seeing them, just growing up around it encouraged me.
I can remember when I was a kid. There's a photo of me as a toddler in like my nappy, like trying to play my Uncle Wayne's guitar as he's playing in front of me and stuff. Yeah. And I can remember him and my dad like playing like Bon Jovi songs on the guitar together. Yeah.
Oh, nice one.
So, how old was you when you sort of realised that you wanted to pursue music?
Oh, I reckon about 9. I was about 9 years old.
Oh, so it was when you started listening to music. That's when you straight away.
So you was at a young age when you sort of realised that this is something that I want to do then?
Yeah, I was, yeah. I even wrote like a few like songs. It was like before I properly understood music, so I couldn't really turn them into anything now.
Yeah.
But like it was like the start of like becoming creative with that stuff. Yeah.
So when you say you studied music, have you like gone to uni or?
I went to uni, but not to do music. I did history at uni, but I studied music at college, and I've always like studied it in my spare time. And like my guitar teacher, who used to teach me at 12 Bar Music, which isn't there anymore in Cleethorpes.
Throwback.
Yeah, massive throwback, right?
Yeah.
He gave me a good grasp of like music theory and stuff, basic things like time signatures, octaves, that kind of thing, and scales and positions, all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
And so you perform as a solo musician, don't you?
Yeah,
you are a solo musician. So what? For me, I could never imagine being a solo musician. It's just for me, I find my fulfillment through creating music with other people.
I hear that.
With anyone at any level. That I really feel that I couldn't do it on my own. What encourages you to do it on your own and not do it as a collective?
So I have been in bands, but first time I sung in public, I did a solo performance at my school at a talent show. But to be honest, my background is with bands. I had like a little band at school. I had a band called Insomnia. We did our first gig at the Matrix like about 13 years ago.
Yeah.
When I was 14. So and after that, I was in a band called Mummy's Mistakes. But for various reasons, those bands kind of fizzled out as we all got older. We were like teenagers at the time. And I've tried to get original bands together, and I just sort of couldn't do it. So I just thought of
it is hard work, though, isn't it? Getting
Yeah,
you've got to make it work between you all, haven't you? And it's
exactly.
I think sometimes you can probably just think that it's like, do you know what? I could do this probably easier on my own.
But even like arranging a band practice when there's 4 or 5 of you. Like getting that one consistent day a week where everyone's free.
It's a big commitment, isn't it?
It's a huge
from everybody.
Yeah, for sure. And I just found one of my favourite things about performing live is the fact that you've only got yourself to rely on, so you can just play whatever sort of comes to mind. So if people shout, "Oh, can you play this?" you don't all need to know it. It's just because it's just you. And if I can play it, I'll just throw it in the set. You can be a lot more spontaneous with it on your own. And I do love that aspect of it.
Yeah, a bit more independent with it.
Yeah, totally.
Nice one. So, in your view, what role does music play in shaping or reflecting society, particularly during challenging times? Because I know you're into your pop punk and your protest music, aren't you? From what I can gather. So, you know, how what influence do you think music has on shaping society?
Well, I can say for me personally, it had a big role in kind of opening my mind and making me like question things around me and become interested in like political issues and stuff. So I mentioned that I studied history at uni. Part of the reason for that is because as I got more into punk, I started listening to bands like the Dead Kennedys, Bad Religion, Propaganda, stuff like that, who sing about like socio-political issues and sometimes reference like history as well. And it kind of inspired me to like learn more about that. It kind of made me see history as a punk rock thing rather than like this dusty old like boring thing. Do you know? I
think that, referring back to that there, that was one of like the defining eras of music, wasn't it? Like
punk rock.
Punk.
Totally.
Yeah. Like it was, punk nowadays isn't embroiled in the anarchy that it was back then. No. Like it is a platform for people to chat about problems and stuff nowadays. Punk is, but it was an anarchist movement, wasn't it? Back when the Sex Pistols was coming through, like it was a complete movement.
Especially you get into bands like Crass and stuff like they took the anarchism and stuff really seriously, and like I think they had a lot of interesting ideas. To be fair, but
what bands are you into now then that are sort of promoting that message? Who's doing that at the moment?
Like current bands,
who's doing it at the minute?
To name a few, there's quite a few like up and coming like really good bands like that. There's so like Lambrini Girls have a lot of songs about like feminism and stuff like that.
That name's great.
Yeah, Lambrini Girls. Yeah.
Says it all, doesn't it?
They're getting huge at the moment. They're doing really well.
Are they a British band?
British, they're from Brighton.
Oh, right,
okay.
They're awesome. The Menstrual Cramps, which everyone always laughs at the name.
The Menstrual Cramps.
Yeah, I love them. You can tell. You can tell they're a punk band when you hear that name. I really like them. There's probably loads more I could name. Dream Nails,
all bands I've never heard of. Have you heard of any of them?
No, I haven't either.
But I'll be honest, punk's not really my forte.
It's not me either. But I guess it's each to their own.
Yeah, I do like some punk, but it's considered. I mean, it's like old New York stuff. Do you know, like Dead Boys and things like that?
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Like bands like Television and stuff, they was considered punk back in the day. Listening to them, you wouldn't attribute them to being a punk band. You'd be like, oh, this is some really early indie music.
Yeah.
And I guess that, the origin of indie music, it's an independent music, isn't it? So I guess maybe somewhere they kind of connect, don't they, punk and original indie music, because it was alternative back in the day. Now it's just a genre, isn't it? It doesn't really symbolise being independent because there's that many indie bands, who are
major labels.
Yeah.
But I think you're right though, because when you hear like, I don't know, Arctic Monkeys, I can hear the Clash in their early albums. I can hear the Clash.
I guess. I
might be wrong, but it feels like that way.
Yeah,
to me anyway.
I'd say you bang on the money. That Council Estate, early Raucous, have something to say.
Yeah, totally.
While we're on Arctic Monkeys, Alex Turner's broken my heart. The man is just the man is turned into. He used to be, someone like me, and probably like yourself, like growing up, on an estate in Grimsby, in a really socially deprived area.
Yeah.
And then they drop the first album, whatever people say, That's What I'm Not. And that album was like talking about running away from the police and getting into trouble. Like it really resonated with, young
you can relate to it well, can't you?
And then you see Alex Turner now, and you're like, you are not the person I looked up to when I was.
No, it's often how it goes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go on.
I was going to say, I've got to be careful what I say, because like a lot of my friends, I hang around with a lot of people who worship Alex Turner, but like I get what you're saying totally. Yeah, some people say the same thing about Frank Turner as well. As much as I like him, some people say what you've just said about him.
So do you perform out of Grimsby, Cleethorpes, or is it just local?
Well, it's mostly local, but I've often done gigs at like the Priory Hotel in Louth.
Yeah. Okay.
I did I started doing a couple in Hull last year.
Whereabouts in Hull?
It was Vintage Bar.
Oh, yeah. Right, okay. I mean, I'm not too well versed with Hull.
I've heard of that place. Yeah.
Yeah, you've heard of it. Yeah. There is the Sumac Centre, which runs something called Punk for the Homeless. That's in Nottingham.
Yeah.
That's really good. And
so what would you say has been your biggest performance then, since you've obviously been solo? Yeah.
Oh, that's a difficult question. Like, biggest is hard to answer. I mean, I know it's not a gig, but it would be playing on Sky News. That's probably the most people I've played to all at one.
And how did that come about then, Sky News?
Yeah, what was that? Was that part of the in the run up to the election, the coverage that they was doing then? Yeah,
it was. Yeah. So somebody shared my Streets of Grimsby song. I had an acoustic version of it on YouTube. I still do, actually.
For those listening, Streets of Grimsby is your latest single and EP release, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Is it out yet, or is it?
It's out, yeah.
And that's Brad Arliss on YouTube, is that right?
Yeah, on YouTube, on Spotify as well. Yeah.
Nice one.
And I had an acoustic version of it on YouTube, and somebody sent it to Grimsby Live, and they did an article on it, like, and what the song was about, which is like challenging the negative media perceptions about Grimsby. And then I got a call from someone who worked at Sky News, like saying, like, "Oh, well, Grimsby's going to be where we're doing a lot of the election coverage from. So would you like to like come on TV and like play the end of the program out with that song?"
Yeah.
So that's how that came about. I was like,
I bet that was a really good opportunity for you, with obviously your interest in politics and
yeah, totally.
So when you performed that, where was that?
It was on the pier. It was Papa's.
Oh, right, okay,
yeah. Inside or
yeah. It was.
What a strange opportunity! It's crazy how some things come about. Isn't it?
I know, yeah. It's,
I can't imagine getting booked for a gig. It's like, will you play the end of the Sky News coverage? You know?
Yeah.
It's quite random, really, isn't it? But
I was not sure whether to believe it at first, but yeah, it was legit.
yeah.
It's a great opportunity for you, that.
Oh, totally, yeah. And I ended up having quite an interesting conversation with Sarah, who was presenting it. I don't know if I mentioned this. I don't think I did, actually. Like, I studied history, but I help out with ABP and the Heritage Centre as well, in the archives. So I'm really interested in local history as well as what I studied at uni.
Do you run any of the local pages then? Do you have any involvement with the local pages on Facebook?
I don't run any of the ones on social media, but I have contributed to the Fishing Heritage Centre blog about a painting.
And is that just like voluntary to the local area? Or?
Yeah.
I was going to say, because I follow some of the history groups, the local ones, and they're so fascinating.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
The heritage of this town is unbelievable.
Oh, God, yeah.
A lot of it's forgotten and bulldozed now.
It is, yeah.
The heritage is amazing.
Yeah, I really...
And do you know what? A lot of people that live in Grimsby Cleethorpes don't even know what the history is.
No, it's...
Because there is so much to learn and to know.
Yeah.
Like the creativity and stuff. Through my volunteering, I've come into a lot of like old artwork and stuff. Not even old artwork, just there's some like new stuff as well. But there's a lot of artwork that people aren't aware of, and I think if people saw more of that and were more aware of it, they'd be really proud, because there's so much, like, so many interesting pieces, so much creativity, so many different styles. Some of it I've seen and I thought, that almost reminds me of like Picasso. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like some of the...
So you say you've got access to the archives. Are these all digital archives? You know,
there is one. Yeah.
I'd love to have a look at all this.
But no,
I bet you've come across some amazing things.
Yeah, which I can't obviously say where they are.
No, of course.
Yeah, but I've seen some amazing paintings and stuff, and that's. What the Fishing Heritage Centre blog is about. It's about showcasing all of that stuff. So that's why I did a piece on one of the paintings there. Yeah.
They've got that art exhibition in there at the moment, haven't they? I was there a couple of months ago. When you're walking upstairs, they've got all them different bits going on in there. It's great. It's great, the Heritage. Have you been recently?
Not recently, no.
Yeah. I remember going when I was a kid, like on school trips and things like that. And it's one of them places that I think it's massively overlooked, isn't it?
What the Fishing Heritage Centre?
Yeah. Oh, totally. As a local attraction, I think it is overlooked. Like, I went with my daughter a couple of months ago. Just the two of us. We had a great time, but there was no one there. It was dead. But it was really good, you know. Because I've not been for years as well. It was like
if you think about it, not many people are really interested in that kind of thing, are they? And they should be, because it's our local town. Do you know, that's what makes our town our town. It's like the docks. Everybody knows of the docks, and because of the fish.
Yeah.
You know, but there's so much more to the town that people should probably talk about, I think.
Like, it was a commercial port before it was even a fishing port. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so much in this town. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
What was this? I was going to say, but with the Fishing Heritage Centre, they actually funded a music video for Streets of Grimsby.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that's going to be coming out in either January or February.
Oh, that's great.
It's expected at the moment. But I got local filmmaker Rich Tipple. He filmed it for us and stuff, and we're just showing like around the docks, around town and stuff, just to kind of like big the town up. And
that Rich Tipple, is that Cleabridge? Is it Cleabridge Films? Who's under? Yeah, because he's been shown some love for the page. He's been,
has he?
He's been liking our content. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that should be though, isn't it? Everyone should help each other out, especially if you're in the local sort of.
Well, we're just a small town at the end of the day, aren't we? Yeah. It's nice to know that people are getting behind each other, because that's what it should be about anyway, I think definitely. Yeah.
I think because of, we're of that generation now where after us, our grandparents that were the ones who worked on the docks, and we're losing that generational link to the docks and the heritage of Grimsby in that respect. And I think, people do need to talk about it more, don't they? People do need to promote it, because Grimsby is perceived as being end of the line. It's perceived as being a rough place, and that everyone perpetuates that idea of it, doesn't it?
Yeah, but you get that anywhere.
Yeah,
You go anywhere in the country, well, anywhere in the world, I guess. Do you know?
Yeah.
I love the place. I've grown up here. I absolutely love it.
We're here on the docks now, like at the Great Escape, and like this is an amazing.
There's no building on Grimsby Docks as good as this one. I know that for sure.
I think this is an amazing building. The way it's all done up and stuff, and like the work that is done here with like addiction recovery.
So when you first come here, what did you think?
Oh, wow, this place is cool. Why have I never been
I guess you weren't expecting what you did see, I guess.
No, I didn't. No. I didn't. I remember thinking, I can't understand why I've never been here before,
And how did you find out about the Great Escape building?
I saw it when I was on like one of Emma Lingard's history tours, but it was actually my friend Gabriel that introduced me to this place. We came here for a coffee.
Oh, okay.
After they finished work, and we're just like, I've just been like, this is such a cool space. Like,
that's interesting.
It's hard to get away from once you get embroiled here, isn't it? It's like,
I love it here, especially the Black Gull, the coffee shop.
Yeah,
it's the vibe that it gives me.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. Look.
The people.
No, that's a Great Escape. Where is it?
No, but the people you bump into as well, it's just it's a melting pot of so many different personalities and attitudes, and
well, it's different walks of life.
I'm glad it's becoming a space for creatives around here, because obviously there's Turntable, like at Heritage Open Day, there's always a lot of interesting stuff going on.
Yeah, it's becoming a bit of a hub on the docks, isn't it, for media and for what
it's nice to bring the community together in that respect now.
Yeah, and it's just going to get bigger as well. Like the Great Escape where we are now, have acquired a building adjacent to here, and that the intention is for that to be sort of the musical element of the Great Escape. Yeah. So that's going to be a purpose venue. It's going to have a rehearsal room in there, a little recording studio. We're going to have some house instruments.
Oh, it's going to be cool when it's done. Yeah.
And there's other places being acquired on the docks as well. So on here, it's just going to get bigger and better. And hopefully, once the sort of the public access out, people will just walk on here, and it'll become similar to like Hull Marina. People will just come on and be able to enjoy the place. Yeah. At the minute, it's cool.
I think it's been a long time coming, and as I mentioned in the episode 2 podcast, what they've done in the building in terms of the people that have done it is incredible.
Yeah.
And it's a shame. There's so many nice buildings down here that should be restored and used daily.
Yeah,
but I think it's the government. They're not getting. It's like in Hull. The government funded Hull Marina. You go there and look at it. It's out this world to one degree, innit? But then you come to Grimsby Docks, and it's run. It's shut down. It's
so ABP. If you're listening, would like one building for the podcast. The sounds from the Dockside Hub.
ABP do a lot of good work with the Heritage Open Day, though. That is always a good event. Yeah. I do like what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, they're very supportive of what's going on down here.
Yeah.
So when you found out about what the Great Escape do in terms of recovery, addiction, what do you think to all that?
Well, that's amazing. I thought that's exactly the kind of thing that needs to be talked about more in this town. What a great idea that, like, people who've, like, had their lives, like, affected, like, ripped torn apart, effectively by, like, addiction and things like that. Like, what better way to, like, help people, like, regain some, like, confidence than, like, getting them into, creative pursuits. Like, what kind of, like, creative stuff do they do? Like, I know there's there like art and stuff?
What you mean here?
Yeah.
So there's a variety of projects going on. So this building in itself is...
This is just one of the buildings, so...
Yeah, so
of course.
The buildings themselves are a canvas for creativity,
Yeah, you can
tell.
tell.
A lot of the textured walls around the place have been, someone who was in recovery came in and did that, and as a result of that, he now provides that as a paid service to people,
Yeah.
But people get involved in restoration projects.
Incredible, yeah.
Majority of the murals around town have been painted by the Great Escape and Creative Start CIC. The Great Wall of Grimsby, things like that. They've all been painted by people in recovery, haven't they? And contributed to.
Yeah.
Is that including the one that's like in the car park near Grimsby Central Hall?
You
know which one I mean. It's alright if you can't remember.
The Great Wall of Grimsby. Yeah.
The
The end of the butchers. Yeah. That is the one. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, they get service users in to help on all these big projects. It's giving back in it. It's getting people to integrate and getting them.
It's trying to get people that are in recovery to try and find their purpose. They're not on their own. They've got a place to go. They can get involved in community projects.
Yeah.
They wake up in the morning and think, I'm not going to use today because I've got that art project going on with all my mates who were really stuck into it, and that's my motivation to not drink.
That's amazing. It gives people purpose, doesn't it?
Exactly. That's what it's all about. Yeah.
And that's what I was going to say. Actually, yeah. That's why I think it's like valuable, the space. Yeah.
Yeah. So going back to your music and your performing, Brad.
Yeah.
When you're performing or writing, what do you hope people take away from your music?
That's a very good question, actually.
It is a really good question.
I'd hate to answer that. I'll put you right on the spot now.
It's fine. What do I hope they take away from it? Well, I hope it means something to them. I hope it makes them think.
Yeah.
I hope that it relates to their life in some way. And I don't know. So I'm really grateful for the bands that challenged me. So that there was some of the punk bands I mentioned earlier that I actually didn't like at first because they said things that challenged the way I thought about things and did things, and it got me on the defensive. And then after a while, I was like, if it's annoyed me so much, maybe it's because they've got a point, because they've hit on something that yeah.
That's an interesting way to look at it.
Not that I want to antagonize people or anything, but like I would say, I want to inspire people to think about the world in different ways and
as you're performing this. Hopefully you want to achieve some sort of degree of success.
Yeah.
But do you feel like chasing that idea of fame and idea of success as a musician, do you feel like that it taints your originality in some respect? Like you're not being as true to your art form and as true to what you want to play because you're chasing this idea and you're trying to be current and you're trying,
I think it can do. I think instead of focusing on finding fame as such, you should focus on finding like an audience of people who genuinely resonate with and respect what you do. So like, I don't think you should like, go and play trap music just because that's what's popular at the moment. You should do what you do best, but find the people who like that.
Yeah.
But you just got to stay true to yourself, haven't you?
Yeah, stay true to yourself and find the audience that appreciates you.
Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what people think, because that's just their opinion. The people that like what you do, will just follow you anyway.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah, it's about finding your tribe.
Has that changed for you as well? Think back to when you first started playing to where you are now. Is your idea of your output, like I said, does that idea of chasing success as a musician, not to say is it tainted you, but is your perspective on it changed from when you started? Like, did you start for the love of it and now you're like, I've got to do these gigs because I need to get that extra recognition? Or
I would say that my perspective on it has got a bit less rigid over time. So like when I was younger, I was a bit of a punk snob, to be honest, and I would be like, I just want to do this obscure punk music and I don't want to do anything that people can sing along to because that's selling out. I was a bit like that. But I don't know. It's not that It's not that I don't take it as seriously now. I do, but like, I'm happy to do sing-along stuff because when people like sing along, it makes me happy. And then I am doing, you know what I mean? You can still be authentic and do stuff that resonates with people.
It's interesting, isn't it, when you get into that, like, it got me thinking about it on the last episode when I was talking to Joel and Louise about it, and Joel made some good points about not chasing anything and stuff like that, and it got me reflecting on it, and, you know, I've been quite deep on that sort of topic over the past week, thinking about it.
Totally, yeah.
And I come to the conclusion that I enjoy what does fame... So I feel like I'm being genuine personally.
But what does fame really mean?
Yeah,
you know, when you look deeply into it, what does it really truly mean?
How do you personally define
fame?
Not necessarily fame, but how do you personally define success in your career, in your life?
I think it is like what I said earlier, like finding your tribe. It's because I don't think you have to. This is what I didn't understand when I was younger. You don't have to quote unquote sell out to find an audience. Like you can reach the people who like what you do. I think it's just about promoting yourself well enough in those spaces to find those people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, which is sometimes hard finding them spaces.
It is, but it's not impossible. Like, which is what I used to think.
But then I guess you've got to jump at every opportunity you get to, you know, to find
like
them.
most things, it's consistency, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like
absolutely.
The more you establish yourself, the better you'll get. You know, the better your music gets, the better your content gets, whatever you're doing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what have you got coming up for the rest of the year and moving into 2025? Anything planned?
I know, 25 already, nearly.
Gig-wise, 2025. 2025.
Goes so quick, doesn't it, time?
It does, yeah. Obviously, I've got the gig tonight at the Great Escape, Black Gull.
Well, I've never actually heard your music, Brad, so it'll be interesting
I've seen you a couple of times.
Have you? Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen you once at St James's Church.
When was that?
Ages ago. I can't remember what it was in Adolf. I think it might have been a Culture House gig.
Was it this year?
No, it wouldn't have been this year. It would have been a couple of years ago.
I wonder when that was. I remember playing someone's graduation there about 6 years ago.
It was definitely not a graduation. I have never been to a graduation. Well. I have no plans.
But to answer your question, stuff I've got coming up for the rest of the year, there's a gig tonight, there's Mucky Muldoons on the 29th of December, which I'm playing. And
I believe that's a Seafront session you said, didn't you?
Yeah,
for anyone listening, go check it out. It's every week, isn't it, the Seafront session?
So, yeah.
Yeah, but Thursday nights, Mucky Muldoons, get down there, Rob creates some good nights.
Or whatever the day of the week, 29th of December is. I can't remember. It may be a Thursday.
We'll go with Thursday.
Yeah.
Whatever Brad says.
And I've also got a gig at the Matrix on 25th of January.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be on a Saturday night.
And that's your last gig to the end of Jan then, is it, up to now?
I've got more kind of scheduled for later in the year, but like that's it.
So through next year, what is your plan in terms of music moving forward?
What's the roadmap of Brad Arliss on his road to conquering the music industry in 2025?
Well, I got the music video coming out in hopefully January or February. I'm also hoping to like get a few more gigs outside of Grimsby and Cleethorpes, just kind of branch out a bit more. I would also love to get more of my original songs recorded and released, because there's still so much I haven't shared with everyone, and like I don't know, hopefully find people who feel that those songs are for them.
What is your recording process? Are you a DIYer, or do you like to book studio time? Or
in the past, I've had other people like record and produce my stuff, but recently, over the past year, I've just learned to do it myself. I recorded my new EP actually in my room, just with my laptop and my sound card.
What software did you use?
Pro Tools. Yeah. And then I used T-Rex 5 to master it. But I had no clue how to do that. Like, I've not got no education in it. I just kind of picked it up on the fly.
Winged it, yeah.
Best I can, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's all a learning process, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
And obviously, being a solo musician, it's less cumbersome. You know, for us to try and DIY it, we'd need a full set of drum mics as a minimum. You know, and then when you start getting into that territory, it's difficult to produce your own stuff.
Yeah.
But the studio's so expensive. We're going in.
It is, yeah.
We're going for 2 nights. We get there Friday night. We're sleeping over at the studio.
Yeah.
We're recording from like 10 a.m. till 11 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. Yeah. And that's like $1,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? We don't even know what we're going to get done in that.
Where is that, if you don't mind me asking?
Eve Studios in Manchester.
Wow.
Great studio, though. when you look at credits, they've recorded everyone from Billy Joel to New Order to the Lottery Winners. So can't wait. And I've never been to a residential studio before. But every time I've been to the studio, it's been like you're in there all day and then you bugger off to some sort of digs or Airbnb, you know. Yeah. But to actually be in the studio for, you know, Friday night through till Sunday night.
Yeah. It's going to be an experience for you, isn't it? So,
just honestly, as a musician,
just embrace it while you're there.
Looking forward to it, you know. Yeah. And I think it's good for us as a band as well because we're all so busy. You know, it'd be good for us to just the five of us just get that weekend away together and just get in the studio and just a full weekend focusing on the music. You know, can't wait.
Definitely, yeah,
can't wait. But wish it didn't cost so much. To be fair, the band's paying for this one. The band's self-funded.
I don't know what you're moaning at then.
HMRC, you didn't
What's
know
up
that?
with you? Grand. It don't matter, it's not coming out of your pocket, is it?
It's a lot of money though, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
You know, it is a lot of money.
It adds up, doesn't it?
We could take an easy option, not to say you're taking an easy option, but we could have taken an easy option and gone cheap, do you know?
Yeah, but then you don't get the quality, do you?
Well, that's it. We kind of shot ourselves in the foot last time we recorded because we went in hard. We paid 1,500 for 2 songs and it sounded incredible. And it's like, how do you take a step back from that? Yeah. Do you know? You've got to match it or exceed it.
I get what you're saying, yeah. I find I'm glad I did the DIY thing because I don't know, I'd been wanting to release stuff for a while and like I just realised I had to like get on it myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm actually kind of glad that I've got that baseline knowledge now of like how to record, how to produce, like what EQing and all these other compression and all these other things are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brought you along as a musician.
Yeah.
The process
totally,
of it.
See, I just like to turn up and sing and then...
I don't blame you. It was a lot easier. I wouldn't say it's not a pain.
Honestly, you singers have got a complex, honestly. You turn up with your microphone, giving it the big end.
Well, that's it, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know, just sing and then
that's why you both
go home.
Quiet, because you both know you're guilty.
Yeah, I'm in this photo and I don't like it.
So, right, Brad, what's the funniest thing that's ever happened to you when you've performed?
It'll be when I was 12 and so I did a cover of Back in Black with this little band that I had back in school. And when it got to the guitar solo, I stepped forward and pulled the lead out of. It was on YouTube. It
was, or it still is.
It still is, but it's on private now.
Right.
But
so you can't watch it, guys.
Just mark it as unprivate.
Yeah. Maybe I will put it to public because it is so funny.
You should send us it and we'll clip it into this part.
Go
of the
podcast. Yeah. You just see me step forward and then
shredding silently.
We should actually do that.
As if I haven't got enough editing to do without trying
to we'll promote this podcast as a short of you pulling the lead out.
All right, that sounds good. That was so funny.
Can you share a moment with us from when you've been performing that's made you vulnerable?
Vulnerable. It'll be when I've played like some of the more like personal songs. The main time that actually comes into my mind was when I went to uni in Manchester. I didn't do a lot of gigs there, but I remember going to an open mic night and playing a couple of like quite personal songs that I wouldn't normally play. Like there's a song called Greetings, which is about my nan after she passed.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then another one called Just Out of Reach, which is like a kind of like love song. But like I remember feeling so awkward playing those songs because like everyone was just watching me and just. I find that when you play songs like that. Sometimes it's a bit like I don't know. It's almost like being like seen like without your clothes on or something like that. Yeah.
So how do you deal with your nerves in that sort of situation?
I still haven't figured that out.
Like because as I've mentioned before in previous podcasts, you know, a lot of people tend to have a drink or take drugs prior to performing to dampen them nerves.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Is that something that you do or have done in the past, or do you just sort of perform sober? Or
I try and perform sober because if I don't, I mess up quite a lot, and it dehydrates you. So my singing goes a bit pants if I drink. Yeah. But with like playing those kinds of songs, I just kind of try and read the room a bit better. But I'm a bit better at that now. If it's like the kind of event where people just want like happy sing along songs, I'll just. Kind of do that, but like more like intimate venues, like so like where I work, Wellergate Cafe, I do the acoustic nights there.
Yeah.
I often performed there, and like that's a good one to do the kind of more like tender, intimate kind of songs because they love it there.
So do you have a specific playlist prior to going to perform that you're going to do, and then obviously, like, say, for example, once you get performing, you're reading the room and the atmosphere. Do you change songs, or?
I kind of have like rough set lists in my head. I'd never really stick to a like rigidly to a set list, to be honest, when I'm by myself. But I've actually got 4 different set lists written out in like a bullet journal I've got at home for like, I'll do these for like. Sing along kind of gigs. I'll do these at like more intimate gigs, and I'll do these at like punky gigs. You know what I mean? Like,
that's good to just have one to pull from.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
it's really organised, isn't it? That?
Yeah. Well, you want to see Healer? Like the last gig we did, after every song, Steve was like, "What's next, Jazz?" Do you know? Like, was completely winging it right up until the point of playing them. But it is important to craft a set list. It's like
definitely
you can tell a story through the order of this.
Well, I guess it's less pressure and less something to think about. Isn't it?
But I mean, if you can derive your set in a way where it'll have peaks and troughs, so it's like you can come out a blazing, and then you can bring it down, and then you can bring it back up, and then you can bring it massive for the end of the set. Like you can create a story through your music just the way in which you order your songs. So
I've got a track called Tech Daddy, which is
Tech Daddy.
Tech Daddy. Do you know that one? It's sort of taking the mick out of like guys that idolise Elon Musk, but it's got some like really sexual lyrics and like a few F-bombs and stuff. I think maybe I don't play that in a church.
It wouldn't be ideal, would it?
No.
Play it. But what's the beef with Elon?
Beef with Elon.
Tech Daddy.
Mate, let rip. Go for
close
it.
to how it actually goes. Well, to be fair, the song is more aimed at the sort of people that idolise him. Like, so like one of the lines in the song is, "I own a Tesla but don't know how to drive. Stick the charger in my ass. It makes me feel alive." Which, sorry if I'm not allowed to say stuff like that on here. You can edit it out if you want. But
that's a bit deep, that, Brad.
Yeah, it's like guys that like think that women are going to swoon over them because like they have like Bitcoin or they own a Tesla or something like that, and like, I don't know, kind of poking fun at that this sort of shallow view they have of women, which I think is part of my, there's a lot of things people don't like Elon for. One particular thing I think I'm leaning on in that song is I think he has some like misogynistic like attitudes. Like the line "Who's the alpha now" is a reference that apparently he said to one of his exes, like, "I'm the alpha in this relationship" or something. Yeah, so to answer your question, that
he is a genius. So we cannot doubt that man's intellect. Some of the things he's achieved. PayPal is an Elon Musk invention.
Really?
He's infiltrated banking.
I know.
He's infiltrated the car industry.
He's a very clever bloke, isn't he?
Very, very clever. But
more money than sense, basically.
More money than sense. Yeah, okay, I agree with that.
We digressed, but
I've got to be careful what I say.
Yeah, I have as well, to be fair. But
anyway, moving on swiftly.
Yeah.
If you could leave one message or impact on the world through your music, Brad, what would it be?
Oh God! Oh, that's hard.
We've got all day.
It's hard to pick just one. I don't want to say just be yourself.
Yeah, for a lot of people, that is the reality of it, though.
That is one of them.
Yeah.
That is one of them messages. But, like, be yourself, but find the people that appreciate what you do for, like authentically. Find your tribe. Do you know what I mean? Like, being yourself don't necessarily mean you have to, like, shut yourself off from opportunities and, you know what I mean?
So the impact on your fans would be, oh yeah, I remember Brad. He never digressed. He was always on that same path. Is that the kind of impact you want to leave? The impression you want to leave?
Well, no, I think it's important to grow as well. I think it's important to challenge yourself as well.
But as you grow and be seen to be authentic and be true and original.
Totally, like stay true to your values and connect with other people and also big up other people who also share those values, because it never hurts to like support and encourage other people as well.
There's a big famine mentality amongst musicians, isn't there? It's oh, there isn't enough of the pie to go around, so don't share any of it.
Scarcity mentality.
Yeah, because it's all about self, isn't it?
It just holds you back, mate.
It's all about self.
Yeah, but it does hold you back. Like, look at the support we've had, since setting this up, the support we've had from other musicians.
Yeah, but that's only because we're engaging with people and we're supporting them.
And we've been honest about it. We've been getting people in and saying, look, we are winging it. We are very honest about that, but just work with us and we'll make the best of it we can. And people have been so understanding, and we couldn't do any of this without people like yourself.
Exactly,
so we're massively appreciative.
Likewise.
You know, it needs not just us, but it needs guests like yourself, and it needs artists to come and perform on our shows for us to make it a success.
And you don't need to see other people as competition. Because you can see them as collaborators as well. Like it really helps if you work with people. Like so, like I don't know, the fact that I've got a good rapport with Rob Bywater means that like he can put me onto like gigs and stuff like that. Yeah. And Eden Ray Lake, who's playing tonight with me.
Shout out Eden.
Yeah, got to shout out Eden. Like we help each other out with gigs and stuff like that, and we often perform gigs together where we sometimes like I was singing Fairy Tale of New York together tonight. Like we collaborate and stuff, and that helps both of us out.
So, on tonight, what are you expecting from your first Sounds from the Dockside Sober Sessions performance?
I did do a Sober Sessions thing a while ago here. It was in August, but this is the first time since it's been with Sounds from the Dockside.
The established short of night.
Yeah. I've seen the lighting downstairs. I'm expecting it's going to be really cozy and chill, to be honest. I feel like it's going to be quite intimate, and I feel like we're going to get some like, I don't know, creative, like-minded people in. Yeah. You know, just because of the kind of space it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if we don't, well then, I give up.
If we don't, we'll still have fun.
If you don't, just keep playing, Brad.
I give up.
Yeah, that's my philosophy.
But rest assured, me and James will be here for your set if no one else. But
I know some people who bought tickets, so...
Yeah, well, not bought. It's all free.
Not bought,
you know?
sorry.
Yeah. But... you know, with regards to our shows, the next one, it's not announced yet, but the next one is on I'm going to say the 11th of January, and that's with Sam Simmons and Dan Cliff, so that's hot off the press.
Sam Simmons is incredible. Dan is as well. Sam is doing so well.
The most prolific person in town, isn't he, when it comes to music?
He is. I don't know how he does it to be as busy as he is. Yeah,
he loves it.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
he loves it.
I admire that he genuinely loves what he does.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Well, I think you've got to love what you do, otherwise, you know, it's like most people just with an ordinary job. You know, they're always moaning, I don't want to be here, I'm sick of the job that I do, then why do it? You have a choice.
I have to check myself sometimes, mate. I have to, like, every now and again, but with the band, like, I'll get to a point where I have to, like, just take a step back a second, look at it and go, I need to put the fun back in this, if you know what I mean. Because it's like, it becomes a bit of a job sometimes, you know, and everything has peaks and troughs, doesn't it? But when I hit that point where I feel like this feels like a bit of a job, it's like I need to take a step back and go, I need to find the fun in this again.
Yeah, totally.
Because it's like, I'm
but that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Totally, It's amazing that you can do that as well. Like, it's amazing that you can see when that's going on and, like, be like, I'm going to recenter myself.
Yeah, I get full on into things, you know, like
James, I know you do.
James will know from this, you know what I mean? I'm always like, James, there's this. James,
trust me, I know.
He stopped answering my calls, mate. Honestly, he's been faking illnesses.
Brad, when you... And do you know the funny thing is? He's not wrong.
Really? Yeah, he's not. No, I was just saying, like, that's why you can't just, like,
I'm pleased you've realised.
Yeah. That's why you can't just jump on trends just because they're popular if you don't care about them, because, like, you know, your audience isn't going to be stupid. They're going to see if you're not into it. Do you know what I mean? And then when they do see that you're having fun, they will have fun as well. Like, it's contagious.
It's infectious, isn't it?
It's like my phone rings. I think, it's David. Oh, for God's sake, what's he want now?
Yeah.
and then he's like, are you alive?
Because it's been 4 days, James.
It's been 4 days, and he's rang me about 40 times.
Oh, it's all right. I'm like that.
Just to tell me that Brad Arliss is coming for a podcast, but I already know.
That's brilliant.
Right, James.
I can be answering text, so I totally get it.
No, this is just straight up blanking me at this point, mate. It's all right, though. Got a couple of other co-hosts in mind, so...
That's all right.
Nice, mate.
Just
going to start doing one on my own. No, couldn't do it on my own, James. You're an integral part of the fabric of this project.
So I like to touch up on, like, addiction and recovery, because that's my background anyway.
Yes.
In terms of representing the Great Escape.
Yeah.
And the comeback in Grimsby. So, have you ever had any struggle in terms of like drink or drugs or?
I've never had like addiction problems, but I have had times when like alcohol has been problematic for me. So like I had like quite a few mental health struggles when I was at uni, and I wouldn't drink too much because of like any dependency or anything like that. But it was more just because like that's the culture.
Yeah.
But it would absolutely tank my mental health. Honestly, I'd get so much more upset and so much like more, I don't know, self-destructive in how I was talking about myself.
Well, that's what it does to you anyway.
It does, yeah.
It totally strips you
chemically, yeah.
It strips you down.
It does, yeah.
It totally strips you down to feel like that.
It like takes away your inhibitions, doesn't it? And well, I struggle. I've got ADHD anyway, and part of that is
Well, then everybody's got ADHD, I guess, to some extent. Do you not agree? Or
I think most people can exhibit traits that could be attributed to it, in a sense. But
I wouldn't say everybody would be like diagnosably ADHD. Do you know what I mean?
No, but I understand where you're coming from. Like,
I do.
There's nuances of ADHD.
I mean, everybody's got traits of it, haven't they?
Yeah. But it's a bit like how everyone can be sad sometimes, but like not everyone is like depressed. If you know what I mean, it's like it's when it's like becomes such a challenge that it's like affecting your life.
Yeah.
And for me, so I've got ADHD, and part of that is like emotional dysregulation. That is a common trait of ADHD. And then when I drank, it would make that worse. Do you know what I mean? Because it lowers your inhibitions even more. So it's like I just got to a point where I'm like, why am I doing this?
Was that affecting like your music and your performing as well? Then
totally, yeah. It wrecked my confidence. Like I regret that I didn't do more music stuff in Manchester, to be honest, while I had the chance.
Yeah,
it's due to drinking.
Not just to drinking, although drinking made it worse. It was just my general like social anxiety and like undiagnosed ADHD, undiagnosed autism. Like I was a bit like just
bit lost in yourself.
Yeah. I had some really great friends, a couple of really great friends, but like a lot of the time I was a bit isolated, to be honest. And
I think the thing is, when most people that are quite young, that are at uni, they're still finding themselves anyway, aren't they?
Yeah. And it's the culture of university in itself. From the first day you get there, that freshers week, it's just like, let's get slaughtered, and everyone's perpetuating that drinking culture at university, aren't they?
Yeah, for sure. It, like you kind of almost can't escape it.
Oh no, not at all. Yeah, even if you moved into halls with and you didn't drink, you can guarantee in your halls of residence there is going to be parties, daily. Yeah.
And that's why I don't think you have to do that, because you can just have a non-alcoholic beer. Do you know what I mean? And you're still fun. You still have a great time. I've personally, I've always had a great time when I've not been drinking, and I've just stuck to the non-alcoholic versions, because I still feel like I'm having a beer, even though it's non-alcoholic. Do you know what I mean? If I have like
well, with our events, alcohol's not missed at all. You'll
not.
experience it later on. It will have the vibe and the energy.
Yeah, it totally is like that here.
I don't want to say we're creating the vibe and energy of going out drinking, but it's just that social setting, like there is a good vibe, there is a good energy.
Yeah.
But people are listening to the music, no one's shouting over each other, no one's trying to get served.
Well, everybody's present, aren't they?
Yeah, everyone is present.
Yeah, and because because it's on a port, it can't get licensed to sell alcohol, so this will always be a safe space for people that want to get away from alcohol and stuff. Which is awesome. Awesome.
And it's not like we're trying to shoehorn people into a drinking establishment and trying to force them to be sober that night. This is sober through and through. Through and through.
Yeah.
Right, Brad. It's been great having you, mate. I really enjoyed that conversation.
Yeah, I did as well. To be fair, like I said earlier, I'm looking forward to listening to you perform.
Well,
I'll have to check out your music online. Where do you say it was? YouTube, Spotify?
Spotify, just under my name, Brad Arliss. YouTube, Spotify, all the other streaming services like Amazon,
Deezer.
Yeah, I'm on Deezer. And what's the other one? iTunes.
Yeah. Apple Music these days.
Sorry, I'm giving away my age. All of that. And I'm always gigging around town and stuff as well.
And we catch Brad live on the 29th of December at Mucky Muldoon's on the Seafront Session, and the 25th of January upstairs at the Matrix, now formerly known as The Loft.
The Loft.
Yeah, The Loft, yeah.
Brilliant, Brad. We like to close it off just by saying, who should we be listening to?
Who should you be listening to? Propagandy. Punk/heavy metal band that sing about a lot of interesting topics, but like singer / guitarist is an amazing guitarist. Bad Religion, System of a Down. If you don't already listen to them,
I've heard one or two.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. There's more that's up your alley because you're not so into the.
Don't.
Music,
Looks can be deceiving, mate.
Oh really? Okay. Well, who else?
Yourself.
Me, yeah.
Yeah, you've got to big up yourself.
No one's actually used that that last question to
Yeah.
promote themselves
Listen
yet.
to my music. Also, listen to Riot Girl.
Riot Girl
music. Yeah. That's not a band. That's like a genre. But there's amazing, amazing bands that have come out of that. Babes in Toyland, Bikini Kill, all of that stuff.
Well, we appreciate you coming down, Brad, and
Great chatting
doing a
with you.
podcast with us. And I can't wait to get the night started with a sober session.
Looking forward to it. Goodbye, everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. It's been great. Thank you.